So it's a very, very, very special Imbolc this year, in that it's dark of the moon. Now, for 13 years, I followed a solely lunar calendar, a calendar that goes by the moon, but also by the sun, which was based on what are called the Coligny tablets that were found in France and date from around the 5th century. So it's called the Celtic lunar calendar. And for there, because you're going on the moon, lunar Imbolc is at dark of the moon. And of course today it's dark of the moon. So today is lunar Imbolc, as well as the Feast of St. Bridget, the traditional Celtic Christian Imbolc date, as well as Chinese New Year. And it's a tiger this year. So we got a triple celebration on this particular day. So very, very rare for the Celtic Christian Feast of St. Bridget, Irish-Scottish Imbolc to actually match with the lunar Imbolc from the Celtic calendar. So I thought that would be a special one for you. And of course what it's marking as the Celtic cross-quarter days is the turning from winter into spring. We have the first promise of spring, and that's why snowdrops are sacred to Bridie, because the snowdrops come out now as the promise that spring is on its way. And with me, well actually Zila's carrying it for me because of my broken arm, I've got a lovely piece from the Celtic lunar calendar about this turning point, and at some point I'll read it out to you because it's very, very beautiful. So that's why we're celebrating today, St. Bridget's Day. Somebody's just asked me about where we're going to. And we're going to a place called Bride's Mound, although its older name was Bride's Hill. And we've got references to Bride's Hill going all the way back to the 1500s. So it's the very old name is the Bride's Hill name. And what we've got on Bride's Hill is actually a series of 3 chapels and a cemetery. And the cemetery, the bones date from the 400s, the 5th century onwards. And the legend is that St. Bridget came from Ireland and came to Bride's Hill, and that's why they built the chapel there, and that's why I think they were hermit monks, hermit priests, who were living there, because there's what they call the priest's house as well as the chapels. Now the original chapel was built around a stone-lined grave. All the other graves are just people buried in the ground. And we know that they're Christians because they're facing east-west. So all of the bones, all men apart from one woman and child, all facing east-west. And that's a sign of a Christian burial, the east-west sign. And the first chapel was a timber wattle and daub chapel. And then in Saxon times, they built around it to make a stone chapel. And then a little later on in Norman times, they built a bigger stone chapel. Now we won't be able to see these, somebody was asking about that, because of course they've got to be covered in earth for the skeletons to be undisturbed and left good, and for the remains to be protected. So that's why we're going to Bride's Mound, that's why it's special. It's got the legend of St. Bridget coming there, and we've now got the archaeological remains that support the legend, which I think is brilliant.